Okay, welcome back. It's a really good idea that we do a bit of a stock take right now. So far we've got our game with a title. We have a hamburger sort of setup where we've got a header, we have the menu system, then we have a footer. We've got some buttons on screen now. So when we click on 10, using the get method rather than post method, we can see through the URL at the top that the size is 10. If we click hard, which is 1000, you can see the thousands being passed into a variable called game size. I've also got a map drive to my web server at home. You can see its IP address here, and these are the files that are on that server. You'll notice that I've moved the old files from this directory, so we don't get confused by that as we move forward. Some of the things we have is a site CSS, which is our governing CSS for this. Some people call it global CSS. It's up to you which one you use. I'm just using site at the moment. We have a footer PHP, header PHP as we said before, so here's header, here's footer. The menu, which is the middle part, and then we've got index PHP, which calls all these and includes those in. In our images folder at the moment, we've only got the title, which is appearing up here. We're going to add some more graphics to that as we go along. All right, I think we're ready to get underway. Once again, I'm using Visual Studio Code. There's tutorials on this, and this is my favorite little editor at the moment. You can see that the CSS folder is here and our image folder here, etc. And these are our files going down. So when we left the last tutorial, we actually had the buttons being clicked and the value being passed through a variable called game size. What we want to do now is collect that variable and actually just display it on the page so that we know that we have control of that bit of information. Now to do that, we're going to start a session and we're going to use what's called a session variable, which will allow us to store global or super globals on our server, which means other pages, if we call them or pass to them, will be able to see this information. So we need to set that up, and also we need to do the server request and grab the information. So let's start doing some coding. So this is going to occur in our index.php. And what's going to happen is when menu is selected, you can see up the top here, we see the method get. So this will submit the page through the get method, and it's going to go to itself. Therefore, the index.php is going to load itself again. And so this time we want to be able to grab that information. So we're going to come down inside our PHP, and it's going to sit above the header. I'm just going to move this up to the top left-hand corner, and we're going to check to see if the get method's been used. So we're going to use a command that says, well, if bracket, and then we're going to go $_server, and then we're going to see if there has been a request, and that request method is going to be equal to the get method. Now remember to have two equal signs in here because it's got to be a comparison. So did the request method equal a get? So is it equal to that, or is it going to be equal to post if you don't want to see it through the URL? So once we've done that, we'll just check to see if the page has been submitted. So if you just logged on to it or just open up index.php, the page hasn't been submitted. So there's no get or post. So what we can do now is check to see that the page has been submitted. So we're going to put in here an echo and then put the page has been submitted. Otherwise, we can have an else clause. And to use the else clause, we're going to close the then part, and then we can go else, open up the else part, and then we can put echo, no selection has been made, and close that. Now you need to make sure you tidy off your open and close braces. So if I click on this one, you see they match up. This one and that one match up. But we've got one here which we're not sure where that goes or this one goes. So therefore they're surplus ones, so let's delete those. So let's save and check this now. So I'm just going to save that, go back to my page. This time when I call the page, I've got to delete out the get method and press enter. When I refresh the page, you notice the page has been submitted, even though there's no information at the end. And when I click on 10, it's still submitted. So let's have a look at the post method. If I decide to change this to post and just save that, when I refresh the page now, no selection has been made. Now when I click 100 or 10, you can still see there's no selections been made, and that's because the method of these buttons being sent to index.html was through the get, and we're looking for a post. So let's go change that to a post. So in menu, we're just going to change get to post, and we're going to save that, go back, refresh the page. No selection has been made. When I refresh the page again, no selection has been made, but if I click on 10, the page has been submitted. If I click on 100, the page has been submitted. If I just press enter, no selection has been made. So the post method is a little bit more secure, and you can't see the actual information being passed through the URL. So I'll just go put it back to the get method at the moment.